Hello children, today we'll study Geography in Social Science of class 8th. We were studying second chapter, Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife. Today we'll start part 3 of this chapter. In the previous videos, land, soil, water were discussed and we discussed about the importance of all these kinds of resources. Today we'll discuss about natural vegetation and wildlife. First of all, we have to know that what is natural vegetation. Natural vegetation means, as reading by name, we can say that naturally grown, right? So plants and trees, they grow themselves without any kind of help of human being, are called natural vegetation. Wildlife means the animals and insects etc. live in the forest, known as wildlife. Natural vegetation and wildlife, also known as flora and fauna. What is flora? All the plant species, all the plants and trees known as flora. So plant species are known as flora. Fauna, all the animals, insects etc. are categorized as fauna. So animal species are known as fauna, plant species are known as flora. Now see this image, some beautiful products you can see in this image. For example, this is beautiful handbag, perhaps made up of jute. Jute is a plant grown in the fields. This is also beautiful product, perhaps made up of using the material from bamboo tree, right? And this is also the product made up of the material taken from plants and trees. Silk is very important, right? Textile, you can see in the image, this is beautiful textile, silk is obtained from silkworms, and silkworms are bred on mulberry trees. In this way we can say mulberry trees are very important. So finally we can say that trees provide us with many different products that we use in our day-to-day life. See this figure, biosphere. What is biosphere? There are lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. These three things you can see. Natural vegetation is there, wildlife is there. So natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the narrow zone, of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, right? It is known as biosphere. So in the biosphere, living beings are interrelated. You can see in this image, interrelated. All the living beings are interrelated in this environment, right? And these are interrelated and interdependent on each other for survival. So this life supporting system is known as ecosystem. So you have to remember, dear students, ecosystem is the life supporting system. It is life supporting system, ecosystem. Now we'll discuss about the uses of plants, importance of plants. It is very simple thing to know that plants and trees are very important in our life. You can see, you can take the experience, you can observe in your surrounding that vegetation and wildlife are valuable resources. So plants provide us with timber. We use timber in making buildings, windows, doors, table, chair, etc. So timber is very important. We can get timber from plants and trees. They give shelter to animals, right? Shelter to animals. They also provide oxygen. This is the most important thing for all the living beings. We breathe, right? And they protect soil, so essential for growing crops. They act as shelter belts, help in also trees help in storage of underground water. They provide us fruits, nuts, latex and other important products. And so many plants are used as medicines, right? So medicinal uses are there of plants and trees. In Ayurveda, approximately 2000 plants and trees are explained as medicinal purposes, for medicinal purposes. For example, tulsi, we can use tulsi in cough and cold, right? Neem is having antibacterial properties or antibiotic properties. It is used for skin diseases, right, to treat skin diseases and blood diseases like this. Sarpgandha, jamun, so many different plants and trees are used for medicinal purposes. Now, importance of wildlife. Like plants and trees, wildlife are also very important. Clear? There is much importance of wildlife. For example, animals, insects, aquatic life forms, right? These are wildlife. They provide milk, meat, wool, and other important products. Clear? Insects like bees provide us honey. Birds feed on insects and act as decomposer as well, like vulture. Clear? Vulture. We can see vulture in this image. Vulture, due to its ability to feed on died livestock, is a scavenger and considered a vital cleanser of the environment. So animals, big or small, all are integral to maintaining balance in the ecosystem. And one more thing about vulture, you should know that vultures in the Indian subcontinent were dying of kidney failure shortly after scavenging livestock treated with diclofenac, a painkiller that is similar to aspirin or ibuprofen. Efforts are on to ban the drug for livestock use and breed vultures in the captivity. Next one is distribution of natural vegetation. The growth of vegetation depends primarily on temperature and moisture. So according to this, the major vegetation types of the world are grouped as forest, okay, grasslands, scrubs, and tundra. These are four major vegetation types, clear, found in the world. You can see the grasslands and forest in this image. In areas of heavy rainfall, huge trees may thrive. The forests are thus associated with areas having abundant water supply. As the amount of moisture decreases, the size of trees and their density also decreases or reduces. Like, for example, the trees found in the tropical evergreen forest, right, are very tall, but the trees found in the deciduous forest shorter than the trees found in tropical evergreen forest. So in this way, short stunted trees and grasses grow in the regions of moderate rainfall, forming the grasslands of the world. Thorny shrubs and scrubs grow in dry areas of low rainfall, like in India, western Rajasthan and some parts of Gujarat, that is arid region, also known as arid region. Clear? Arid region, desert vegetation. In such areas, plants have deep roots and leaves with thorny and waxy surface, reduce loss of moisture through transpiration. Tundra vegetation of cold polar regions. In the polar region, tundra vegetation is found comprised of mosses and lichens. Today, there are many more people in the world than there were 2 centuries back. To feed the growing numbers, large areas of forest have been cleared to grow crops. Forest cover all over the world is vanishing rapidly. There is an urgent need to conserve these valuable resources. It means the wildlife and natural vegetation is fastly means depleted. So what are the causes of depletion of natural vegetation and wildlife? Let's discuss. It means what are the causes of depletion of flora and fauna? Both. First, deforestation means cutting trees. This is very dangerous cause. It's very important to know that how the depletion of flora and fauna due to deforestation means cutting trees. We cut the trees fastly because of various kinds of developmental causes. Second is soil erosion. Soil is getting its quality less due to soil erosion. Soil erosion due to the displacement of soil due to water, fast flowing of water or wind. Water or wind, and landslide due to heavy rainfall, right? Forest fires, like in Australia, it's very major cause of depletion of flora and fauna. Landslides, as we have discussed. Constructional activities, we are constructing roads, buildings, laying down railway lines, clear. We are growing the industries continuously, so it means these are the constructional activities due to which we are depleting the flora and fauna. Poaching is a very important reason. Poaching, and a very big cause of depletion of flora and fauna also, clear. So the animals are poached for collection and illegal trade of hides, skins, nails, teeth, horns, as well as feathers. Some of these animals are tiger, lion, elephant, deer, black buck, crocodile, rhinoceros, snow leopard, ostrich, peacock, etc. And many types of species have been extincted completely due to poaching. And so these were the causes of depletion of flora and fauna, both we have discussed. As you know that natural vegetation and wildlife, flora and fauna are very important for human life, so we have to conserve them, we have to protect them. So what are the steps have been taken by the government? What steps we have to take for conservation of flora and fauna, or for the protection of flora and fauna? The first is Wildlife Protection Act. It is called Indian Wildlife Protection Act, passed in 1972. You have to remember, dear students, it was passed in 1972. According to this act, poaching and cutting trees recklessly is a crime, and for the protection of plants, trees and animals, different kinds of reserve, biosphere reserve, national parks and sanctuaries, right? Wildlife sanctuaries means to be formed. Next is national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves were defined, and these were protected by the government, clear. So these were the areas to conserve the flora and fauna. So conservation of creeks, lakes and wetlands also is the major thing to protect flora and fauna. And awareness programs, we have to aware the people, clear. So the government has started different kinds of plans or these kinds of programs. For example, One Mahotsava, right, to protect conservation of flora and fauna. Through these kinds of programs, we can make aware the people regarding the importance of flora and fauna and to conserve them. Many communities in India also try to protect themselves, right, with the help of the government or the NGOs. Different kinds of NGOs also are working to protect flora and fauna. So in this way, these are the different ways to conserve flora and fauna. You can see different kinds of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and biosphere reserves in this map. For example, Dachigam in Jammu and Kashmir, Jim Corbett, Uttarakhand, Sariska in Rajasthan, Ranthambore also, Kanha in Madhya Pradesh, Kaziranga in Assam, Simlipal in Odisha, right, and Bijapur in Karnataka, Periyar in Kerala. So different kinds of national parks are there to protect and conserve wildlife and natural vegetation. One more important thing for the protection of flora and fauna, for the conservation as international level, right? An international convention, CITES, has been established that lists several species of animals and birds in which trade is prohibited. Conservation of plants and animals is an ethical duty of every citizen according to this. You can see here, CITES means the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of wild fauna and flora. So it is an international agreement between governments, different governments. It aims to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. Roughly 5,000 species of animals and 28,000 species of plants are protected. Bears, dolphins, cacti, corals, orchids, and aloes are some examples. So this was about this chapter. So dear students, we have completed this chapter. Watch this video again to revise the chapter. Make important notes, important points, write down in your notebook, and try to make diagrams, right? And if you have any kind of doubt, you can ask me by writing in comment box. Thank you. Have a nice day.